Well, my intent was to do these videos probably twice a week, maybe three times, but there's just so many things happening. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and things that we can't just sit around and do nothing about. But and then some things that is sort of timely, sort of makes no sense to talk about that 2 or 3 weeks later if it's not in the news anymore or whatnot. And one of those is this weird fog that this past week, for about 3 days or so, traversed the sort of the northern part of the United States, uh, and you know we didn't hear a lot about it. What I've heard, of course, there was people who took had images of what looked like snow in the fog, and I don't know whether they were trying to say this was some kind of particulate or something. That certainly people were talking about particulates in the fog from various angles. I've heard that. This is a way that they can spread disease or whatnot, is spread this fog that'll hold the particulate so that when you walk out and walk through it, it's just right there, and it's very easy for you to breathe in. But anyway, I don't know whether that's true or not. I'm not trying to tell you that it is. But there were people who certainly talked about having a burning chemical-like smell. I saw a couple of different reports of that. And but there were a lot of words, and not really as typical. A lot of words, not a lot of evidence. Okay, no explanation why people would get sick from a fog. Now, I'm going to read though, because I wanted to try to find out what I could about things, and so I went to went online and. I looked at a couple of sources. One of them was the Daily Express US, which is an MSN on MSN, and they stated the fog blanketing the U.S. is probably advection fog that forms in winter when warm, moist air travels over colder land temperatures, most commonly seen in the southern or central U.S. Now, I'm used to fog in the morning. That's not a new thing. It is odd to have thick fog for a long time, especially over several days. So that's really weird. I don't remember people talking about it just being a fog in the morning. Normally, when I experience fog, you probably do too. It's there in the morning. Let's say 7 o'clock, you're going into work or whatnot, and if you go into work a half hour later, it starts rising up, and you can see it rise. If you come back and forth, I mean, you're not seeing it go, but if you're driving up and down the same road, you'll see it. So, I'm used to fog being that way, but that's not what this fog seems to be. It seems to be something that's persistent, and it was odd that it was 3 days straight or so. So anyway, and they go on to say, fog can cause respiratory issues like coughing, shortness of breath, wheezing, congestion, and chest pain, especially for asthmatic people, which could explain the health impacts of the mystery fog, and they have that in quotation. Now, come on. I've never heard that in my life. I've never heard anybody in my life of getting sick from walking in fog. And, places like London are famous for their fog, right? I mean, when you're watching movies about Jack the Ripper, there's always fog, right? So fog is not an odd thing. People have not been getting sick from fog. That is BS. Now, there may be particulates from something in the fog. Yeah, okay. It may be that, again, I think I might have said this on other videos. Maybe China, which we know they had to shut down factories in China a few years ago when they had the Olympics over there because the smog is so terrible. The athletes couldn't have been able to do their athletic events from the smog, right? So, all right, give me something that makes sense to me. Now, and a weatherman probably could explain if it actually did, that these chemical, there could be chemicals or other kind of particulates, metals, whatever, coming through the jet stream or something. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not. I don't want you to think that that's correct, because it may not be. Something screwy, fishy is happening. That's all there is to it. And I think that's a BS thing. See, this is the kind of news we get. And also, they're not quoting anybody with this. They're just telling us this is a well-known thing. People get sick all the time from fog. BS. All right, let me go on to Newsweek online. This is an online article on Newsweek. Unusual dense fog nearly covers the entire span of the U.S. Oh, excuse me, I'm reading the wrong thing. No, I guess no. I did read. I looked at that. That was the name of it. Unusual dense fog. They didn't say much different in that article either. It was the same kind of words, words, words. There's always plenty of words, but real evidence. But there's little real evidence actually thrown at us that we can evaluate anything. Now I've placed another video below for you to take a look at. In the video, they're talking about a particular product. I'm not trying to push the product. What I think is important, and it may be a good product, I don't know, but I'm not here to try to tell you that you should take the product. What I think is important in this video is to listen to the conversation between the interviewer and the interviewee. And what they're doing is, I want you to see the conflict as they're having this conversation, the conflict between accusations, statements by condescending experts who dismiss this product and clearly make statements as these people do their own science and prove that the statements are lies. But you're not going to have, or we're going to have a news program about how major companies lie about, or their cronies lie about products so that you won't buy them. No, we're not going to have that. We're not going to have, because here's the evidence to prove that those people are lying to you. Right? We're not going to have that. But anyway, I want you to take a look at that, if you will. So you'll see that conflict between just accusations and then the responding real science. As I said, I've not used the product. It sounds like a good product. But whether you're interested in the product that they've tested, or just listen to the conversations and consider when you hear outside of this. Once you listen to this, then you can use it as you contemplate other things. But when you hear negative evaluations about things on the news or some talk show, and consider whether or not you're hearing serious science, or you're just hearing a scientist, and you assume that the scientist who is making the claim is telling you the truth, which sadly, just because you're a scientist doesn't mean you're not a liar. Okay. So when powerful companies want to squash the product of a new competitor, some kind of upstart competitor, it shouldn't be surprising to us that they put out fake news to eliminate the competition. This is not really new, and certainly they put out fake news to tell us their product is great, whatever the product is. It doesn't matter whether they believe what they're doing or not is true. So all these low-fat products that came out in the last 20 years or so, no fat, that had so much other sugar and stuff in it that people were just continuing to gain weight, well, they're just selling the product, right? Heart healthy, that's a good one. Heart healthy. They're just selling you the product because there is some claim by scientists, which is, of course, regurgitated by big companies, to tell you that, hey, you need to buy. Some scientist said this. We're not going to tell you that he's full of bull, or that the evidence is so narrow in such a narrow range of reality that, but we're going to pretend like it means everything in the world, and you should just jump at this product, right? So. And we've had ample lawsuits about companies you know, not telling the truth about the products, whether they're lying about another company's products or lying about their own products. So, and then there's, on the other hand, there's plenty of evidence we've seen over decades now of evidence of toxins in our atmosphere, in the environment, from processing of metals, processing of oil products, inorganic materials, various inorganic materials. Not to talk about, of course, chemical warfare that has affected the environment over the past century. I was just watching a video yesterday on a colony of rabbits in Japan. They had this secret island that Japanese took off the map, and during World War II didn't pretended it didn't exist, and they were making mustard gas and tear gas and all the kind of gases on this island, which was against the Geneva Convention or whatever treaty that they agreed to sign on to after in 1925 after World War One. So they were illegally making these things. They were, what do you call it, clandestinely making these things. They were doing something that wasn't honest and above board and in the sunlight. And a lot of people got sick during the period as they, the people who were working in the factories making them, they got sick and died. But so they ended up putting some rabbits out on the island. And, they were, the program talked some about all of that, about how the rabbits reacted to it, yada, yada, yada. So now it's a tourist place. It's not too polluted for people to go out there and enjoy. But nonetheless, it was a pretty polluted environment. So we've been doing this forever. We continue to do it. Right now there's a government, maybe our own, doing something similar right now, and they're not telling us about it or telling anybody else about it. And it affects the environment, and that might be what's going on in this fog. It could be a military thing. I heard some guys say they were dropping it with these drones in New Jersey, which I don't really believe in. They could drop it with drones, obviously, but there's all kind of possibilities. If you want to poison somebody, there's a lot of ways to put poison in the air. So anyway, what's going on with all of this? And can we trust the people who are telling us things and they're supposed to be telling us honest science or not? That's the big question. So take a look at that video and just think about what they're saying. I'm not trying to suggest that you need to buy that product. I'm trying to get you to look at the video and think about what's going on in the world around us. So you saw my video yesterday was about, I just want the truth. I continue. You will find in almost everything I do. I just want the truth. And the truth shall set you free. Some of you heard that before. Have a good day.